Sardines. Now, these are fresh sardines, and fresh sardines may not be that popular in North America, but elsewhere in the world they're extremely popular. They're very tasty and they're very, very healthy. All blue skinned fish, especially small fish, because they swim very quickly, and it's said that they pick up fewer, let's say, toxins from the water. I can't say that's a fact necessarily. I have no, personal scientific knowledge of this, but I will say that they are quite tasty, and I have been told numerous times that they're very healthy. Regardless, the bottom line is they're not that user friendly, and often that deters people from preparing certain dishes because it's a pain in the ass to make. And so I'm going to show you how to do it. Firstly, you remove the head, which I just did. Rewind the video if you missed it, but cut all of the heads right above the gills, and then I'm slitting the belly, and I find it fastest to work this way as opposed to completing one fish from start to finish. You do one step for each fish, then you do the second step for each fish, then the third step, almost as if you're an assembly line. Now I'm removing the guts, and then what I did was I ran my thumb along the spine, along the backbone, and sort of butterflied it. Now I'll show a close-up of this, but just so you get an idea how I clean it up. Here's the guts. They come right out. The whole stomach and intestinal system comes out very easily. You can use your knife or use your fingers. You want to clean it. You want to clean all of this out. It's quite a bitter flavor, so you definitely want to clean it out. But notice how I'm doing it one after the other. And then after I'm finished that stage, I clean my cutting board completely because I don't want to get those guts on the outside of the skin. Notice how I run my thumb along the backbone. Now, until you try one, it's going to be difficult for you to fully understand, but I'm using my thumb to butterfly it right along the spine. And then once I've done that step, I'll move on to cutting with my knife on an angle both the left and right side of this butterflied fish, just to remove some of the pin bones, the rib cage, if you will. They're very tiny bones. You can eat them, but it's nice to remove some of them. Here's how you remove the spine. You just break it right by the tail with your fingers. It's not hard, and then pull it out. Pulls out very easily. Notice how the little rib bones, some of them are coming off. So look, there's the spine. Stick your thumb underneath it, pinch it with your forefinger and your thumb, and just snap it. And then pull it right out. This is a way you can do a number of different blue skin fish. They're basically made up the same way, and this is how you clean them. But here's a key area, because that dark brown area is still part of the guts, and you want to get that out. So I'm cleaning it off with my knife, just scraping gently, firstly, and then making a cut, sort of squaring up the side. This is going to make it much more pleasant to eat because you're actually removing some of the rib bones. So there's a cleaned piece. Perfect for sautéing, or you could pop it on. You could put 10 or 20 of them on a cookie sheet drizzled with a little bit of oil, salt and pepper. Maybe put a tiny lemon slice on each one, and pop them in the oven on a very high heat. Once they're sizzling, they're done. They're very thin. So this is an excellent Thrifty choice because it is so thin. It will cook very quickly, which means less time on the stove, which means less energy used and more money saved. And that's what we're all about at Thrift Culture now. So get in the habit of looking at things in those terms, cutting things for that purpose so that they cook more quickly. That's why I recommend stir fries and all sorts of other preparations in my Thrifty Cooking Solutions YouTube channel, because those sorts of dishes cook very quickly. So I've cleaned them all, and it didn't take me very long whatsoever. It's just a couple of steps. Here we have a non-stick fry pan. You could use a good quality cast iron fry pan. Just want to make sure you have high heat, because the fish will stick to a cast iron if you don't have high heat. So a tiny little bit of oil. I would season them with salt and pepper, and then saute them skin side down first. The skin crispens really nicely. I'm a huge fan of blue skinned fish, but it's not that often that you find it fresh. These were frozen, and the price is just great. I mean, I think I paid like 50 cents a fish, and so that's quite reasonable. I mean, it's about $1 per person for dinner. That's good, especially when you consider the quality of the food. I mean, it's properly frozen. This fish is frozen the moment it's in the boat, and so you're not really losing a lot of quality. Now you couldn't slice this for sashimi or sushi. It's not that quality, but for the purpose of sautéing in a frying pan, it's perfect. So all sorts of things. You could also bread these, and if you're curious as to how to bread things, I'm going to be releasing a video whereby I bread pork tenderloin. And breading is breading. It's all the same technique. Basically, you flour the meat or fish, and then put an or dip it in an egg wash, and then dip it in some breadcrumbs or whatever you happen to be using as a base. I mean, it could be breadcrumbs, it could be Parmesan cheese if you're feeling really wealthy, but normally breadcrumbs, because they're a good way to use up your old stale bread. So there you have it. I flipped it, and notice how the skin has sort of crispened up. Very easy to do, cooks very quickly. But as I mentioned, you could cook it in the oven. Put your oven up to 500 or full heat, place them on a cookie sheet, pop them in, and they'll be sizzling within, a minute and 3/4 or 2 minutes, and then pull them out right away. They're done. Here's our pan. There's a little bit of flavor there that you could deglaze to make sort of a sauce. So we're going to deglaze with a tiny bit of soy. This is butter. So add a little butter in first. That's going to help to get that flavor off. And here's our fish, simply sauteed and quite delicious. Definitely a thrifty choice.